Welcome to the Born Unbreakable podcast. I'm your host, Coach Des, mindset motivator and lifestyle entrepreneur. From lost trauma, disappointments, and devastation to healing, hope, and betterment, what has grounded me is my unbreakable spirit. We all have that spirit within us. Every week, I'm here to inspire you with stories of perseverance and growth. My mission is to help you crush self-limiting beliefs and to be unapologetically you. You are your only limit, so take action today. Let your unbreakable ride begin now. This episode is brought to you by Brasserie. More than just bra straps, the accessory I love. With styles from dainty to daring, you will too. Click the link in the description or go to brasserie.com and use promo code BUSHIP to get free shipping on your order today. Welcome, everyone, to the Born Unbreakable podcast. I've been waiting for this day to interview my friend all the way from Australia, Luke Mindpower, who I've followed for quite a while now and have been so inspired by him. Luke is a motivational life coach. He's an entrepreneur. He's the host of the Luke Mindpower podcast. He's the leader of this incredible group called Dream Chasers, which I'll let him talk a little bit more about. And he coaches on a lot of things, but what I'm so impressed by is he coaches on things that are at the heart of what so many of us need, which is self-esteem, personal transformation, self-awareness, and self-love. And I have to say, one of the most entertaining things, Luke, that I found in following you on all the different platforms is your sweet dance moves on TikTok. So Luke has over 151,000 followers on TikTok, over 2 million likes. So not only are you motivated by Luke, but you get energized by him just by watching his dancing and his messages. So you get a little bit of bonus, I think, by just being in the presence of him on social media. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Des. It's really a blessing and an honor to be here with you and just to share this space and kind of connect and also reflect. I always take these opportunities to go, wow, how far have I come? Who am I? Who was I 12 months ago?
Right.
And this is the beautiful part of personal development, personal growth, of conscious awakening, of continuous, elevation in your life. Because if you're not growing, you're dying. That's what
Amen to that. I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. One of the things I just admire about you from the first time that you and I have had a conversation, and we've been fortunate enough to have a few now, is just your personal story of what led you into the space of transformation, your own journey into self-love and development. So I would love for you to share what that was like for you. How did you start? What was life like? What was Luke's life like before you delved into this space?
Luke, that version, still love the guy. He's still amazing. But he was doing his best at the time, and he was just very afraid. He was very afraid. He was very insecure. He doubted himself a lot. He never really understood anything to do with self-esteem or self-confidence or self-love or having a relationship with yourself. Knowing that you are good enough. You define you. The world doesn't define you. People who tell you that you may not be good enough, or girlfriends that reject you, for example, which definitely played a big part. Relationships that you go through that don't fall the way that you expect them to, and so therefore you come up with this reasoning as to thinking that you ain't good enough. The reason why they're not working is because you're never going to meet the right person. It's not meant for you. You're not. I think that belief of I guess, not feeling worthy. You know,
Mm.
we get so influenced by our friends and family and people around us that if your life is not going in the direction of those influences, then you completely feel different, odd, and the black sheep, and you feel insecure. You kind of take on that belief that, well, if my life isn't working like that, like theirs are, then there's something wrong with me. So I took
Mhm.
on that belief, and for many years, I was still fighting, and that also made me settle in relationships that I really didn't want to be in, but because I didn't want to be alone, I just said, "Yeah, okay, well, at least I've got a girlfriend."
Yep.
Right? So I think a lot of people do that because they don't believe that they can get better, so they just settle for second best or third best, right?
Mhm.
And so for me, now with who I am, with who I've chosen to become, right? Because you can become whoever you want to become. You can transform your life. You can be someone completely different in a couple of years' time if you choose to be. Um, but to be this person who speaks and inspires and just projects so much positivity and love and good energy, uh, I've had to fight a internal battle. I'm still fighting. You know, the the pain, the insecurity, the not feeling good enough, the imposter syndrome, the negative thoughts, the shit that's in my head because of what I've been through when I was a kid and growing up. It still lingers, and it hurts. Like,
Mhm.
I was just on Clubhouse, and I haven't spoken in a room with more than 50 people yet. I know I'm going to fucking kill it, right? But I've been so
Absolutely.
focused on my projects, my coaching, all the work that I do on social media, that I haven't had a chance to actually, invest more time into Clubhouse. But as I was sitting in this room, one of my friends was speaking, and and at the same time he was messaging on WhatsApp and saying, "Jump on, just push in, just open the mic and just say, hey, I'm Luke, or whatever." And so I was so close to doing that. At the same time, I'm communicating with potential clients on the internet. I'm watching WhatsApp. I'm listening to Clubhouse, and I'm messaging Des to see if this podcast is still going to be on. Right? So I'm under
Yeah.
pressure. I'm under pressure. But the point I'm trying to make is that this there was this moment where I was feeling this anxiousness because I was like, I could possibly jump in here and speak in front of 50 or 70 people,
Mhm.
and my heart rate was increasing, and I was like, shit. And at this moment, what I realized was, like, yes, it's true, and my friend taught me this as well, Chris Simons: every level is a new devil. Like, every single next level, next step for you to grow into, or to do, or the thing that you need to do that you haven't done yet, that you
Mhm.
haven't experienced yet, even though I know you can use your imagination, I know you can go there in your mind and believe that it's actually real, right? But just using this, for example, Clubhouse, right? I've been on podcasts, I've been on Instagram lives, on Facebook lives, on TikTok lives, on doing all my social media content. I fucking kill it, right? And then comes a new platform like Clubhouse, and all of a sudden you feel like you can't do it, or you get scared, right? It's crazy. It's just like,
It's crazy, and Clubhouse, you don't have video,
I know, it's even
so you're
easier,
not looking at anybody.
right? And
It's
so now
different.
you just get intimidated by the fact that you haven't experienced. You get intimidated by there's 50 or 100 people, or there's other people speaking so well, and you think that you can't do it. It's all bullshit. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that what I realized is that every single time you have to break through to that new level, there's a younger part of you that's afraid.
Mhm.
That inner child, that hurt kid, that insecurity, that lack of self-confidence and lack of self-esteem, that's what came up for me just then. when I was sitting there about to speak on Clubhouse, which I didn't get the chance to speak, and that's fine. I'll make it happen. But
Mm-hmm.
but I realized that, wow, that's little Luke saying, I'm scared, I'm afraid, you know? And so consciously, you have to push through that fear. You have to push through that barrier so that you can have your own back and show up for your younger self and say, hey, it's okay. I got you, bro. Don't worry. Right. And it's that limiting belief as well. But that was just a perspective that I was using, that I was connecting with, that made sense for me. But it's been a journey, and it's really about showing up and loving yourself enough to do what's right for you, not feel guilty for making the right decisions for yourself. And oh, looks like we lost Des.
There you are.
Are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. That's all right. What happened? You
Oh my
just cut.
gosh. No, I think you were just, it was just so intense what you were saying that it just, the force field couldn't handle all that power.
The
Um,
energy was too much. Yeah.
it was too much. Let me make sure that this thing is recording right. So when you were talking, one of the things that I started thinking about was you talked about fear and how there's a devil at every level. And I'm curious because you talked about that inner child. What was one of those moments for you when you think back to your childhood and some of the traumas that you experienced where you had a turning point where you were able to get past a level to get to the next one by overcoming fear that you had?
It started, I think, in terms of the last 3 years, that I'm trying to think back before that, even like what were the parts? I mean, yeah, there was, a place in time where I was 24 or 25 years old, and uh, I was unemployed, didn't have a job, and my sister reached out to me. She's like, "Hey, Luke, I got this application for you if you want. Check it out." And it was to become a trainee with a government department, just customer service. And I hadn't had a job for like 6 months, and then I had to go apply for this interview. So I did this job for like 12 months, and then I would watch these driving testers in the office like take out these applicants and take people for driving tests. And I'd be like, I'd never do that job. Like I can't do, like I don't understand how they would how they can actually fail people. Like I would be so afraid to like give people the result and tell them that they failed the driving test. Because like, what if people get angry? Like, people are going to be like, oh no, I didn't, that's bullshit. You're lying. I should have passed, whatever. So I witnessed that for like 12 months. And then the moment that I was eligible to apply for other positions, because I was only making like $24,000 a year. So I was like $400 a week or something like that, which was
Mhm.
crap. But it was just part of the process, and I needed a job. So um, so then what I was doing was I was applying for every single position that was available, like on the jobs board within the government department.
Mhm.
And I applied for one, I wasn't successful. I applied for another one, I wasn't successful. And I just kept going because I was like, I need to get out of here. I can't do this job anymore. I can't get paid. This is shit. And so then the next job that came up was a driver testing job. And I was like, shit, I guess I'm just going to apply for it. I don't know if it's funny. I applied for something that I said I wasn't going to do, and I went for the interview, and I was afraid. Like, I didn't really know what I was doing, but it more so, there was an angel that was one of the interviewers, that, and that's why I say this. This is part of, like, for example, my coaching as well. Sometimes you need to be around someone or have someone in your proximity that believes in you when you don't believe in yourself. And this woman believed in me. she saw potential in me to be this driver tester, but I didn't believe it and I didn't think that I could do it. But I still showed up and just presented myself and shared what I know and my experience as a customer service representative. And over the next 8 years, this woman was in my life to just support me. I went through a experience of nearly getting married and investing so much time and energy into a relationship, which turned into being long distance. But then we decided, yep, let's get married. And 1 week before the wedding, she felt that it wasn't right and she cancelled the wedding. That was one of the hardest things for me to go through in my life. And this woman had my back the whole time. She even though I wasn't at work, I was, because I couldn't sleep. I was so stressed that I couldn't communicate with the person I loved. And so this person, this manager at work, she had my back. But in terms of what you said, fear, was there something that you had to overcome? And I was like, well, just like, I want people to relate to this because it's something so simple as applying for a job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is the most easiest thing that most people can be so afraid of, is to do a job interview,
Yeah.
right? But it was the process of me eventuating to who I am right today, applying for a job, going to a job interview, getting that job. Like, that it brought me here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but not only that, I mean, there's moments more so now, because I never was conscious. I never was as self-aware as I am right now in terms of understanding fear, getting out of your comfort zone, all that shit. I didn't know what that was about fucking 10 years ago. If you talk to me about get out of your comfort zone, do something that you're afraid of, all that shit, I didn't know nothing about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
there's
what got you there? How did you get to the place where you started to get out of your comfort zone, and what did that look like for you if that was so difficult, looking back 10 years ago?
it would have started when my grandmother died in 2018. February. Yeah, my dad's mum. And I went to Poland. I went to the funeral with him. And at the time, I was still addicted to Coke. And yeah, just very unconscious. I was very driven, motivated. And, I had dreams. I had like ambition,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't have purpose. I didn't have passion. I just had drive. I was working as a driver tester and I was driving as a hire car driver, so a chauffeur driver. So I was doing two jobs and I was making like, nearly 2,000 or a little bit over $2,000 a week. So I wasn't making bad money. Plus I was selling the drugs as well. So that was like, but that I wasn't making money from the drugs. That was just for me, so I could use shit like for free.
It was
Because
your own self-fulfilling prophecy.
yeah, because the money I was making off it, I was spending it on myself, which was, snorting the coke. And I'm not afraid to speak that truth, because again, like I said, that version of Luke was doing his best at the time, but all he was doing was just hiding himself, and he was afraid, and he was empowering himself to feel the way that he really wanted to feel in reality.
Mhm.
He wanted to feel confident. He wanted to have self-esteem. He wanted to love himself. He wanted to feel enough, but the only way that he could feel enough was to snort cocaine and to drink, because that would empower him.
Mhm. So then your grandma passes away and you're still in that space with drugs fueling you. What changed after that?
Yeah, I got to see my dad is a very he has a specific love language that's a bit unusual. Maybe there's people out there that are like, yeah, my dad's like that too. He's got no emotion. Try to hug him, he pushes you away.
Hmm.
But watching him leave the church and seeing him cry for about 3 seconds after his mother was being carried out, that kind of touched my heart. And then I remember a conversation with my cousin who was like, she would tell me, don't drink and don't do drugs. And I remember that conversation quite well. So I've come to I've come to a conclusion that when I came back to Australia, that I kind of feel like she came with me and she came and woke me up. And she came and she just said, "Luke, it's time for you to wake up, man. Like, you're better than this. This is not who you are. You can do more." So basically, from that point on, my next decision was to move to Poland. So again, everything that I didn't eventuate to who I was becoming. But anyone who's listening right now, wherever you are in your life, it's all about action. It's about movement. It's about changing. Because if you want a different life, but you ain't willing to take action, make decisions, and change, then fuck all's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You can completely just sit and complain and whinge and be your own worst enemy and find excuses and reasons as to why you can't have the life that you want to have. Or you can just make decisions, because in making those decisions, whether they're right or wrong, you're going to learn from them, and the fact that you're moving is going to take you eventually to the place where you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I said I'm going to move to Poland. Where the fuck am I now? I'm in Newcastle with my parents 3 years later. I never
Mm-hmm.
moved to Poland. But the point of it is that it made me think. So after I made that decision, I was like, well, okay, if I'm going to live there, what am I going to do as a job? I can't just go there. It's pretty hard to get a good job over there. You're not just going to make good money. So how are you going to survive? So and then it became a process of elimination. So it's like, okay, well, if I'm going to move there, what do I want to do? Okay, let's open a business. Well, what kind of business do you want to have? What are you good at? Right. So then you start
Mm-hmm.
digging deeper, and you're like, well, what am I good at? Because that's what I said. I said, if you're going to do something, you want to do something that you love.
Yep.
So I only had two things. I said one of them is rapping, and the other one is going to the gym, because I always went to the gym.
Uh-huh.
So I made a decision. I was like, okay, well, you're not a rapper, so let's open a gym. So then I started being motivated to listen to Bedros Keuilian, and he has a franchise called Fit Body Bootcamp, and I was on YouTube listening to him and learning from him about how to open a gym and entrepreneurship and all that kind of stuff. And then I was driving around Sydney, going to all these gyms and uh, checking out franchises and seeing if these franchises are in Europe. And so I was on a mission to make this a reality. I rang my brother-in-law, rang my cousin. I said, guys, I want to move to Poland, open this franchise. If you save 100,000, I'll save 100,000. We can all chip in and make this come true, right? And then I got to the pinnacle moment of awakening, when I realized that if I wanted to be a fitness instructor or a coach or someone who's in charge, you need to communicate, you need to delegate, you need to facilitate. You're going to have to speak in front of large groups of people. You're going to have to, share your knowledge and training and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that, well, fuck, I can't do that. I'm afraid of speaking. Like, public speaking is my biggest fear, which it is for many people.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what I mean when, even if you're making the wrong fucking decision, just make a decision, because eventually you'll get to the point where you'll realize what it is that you're supposed to be doing, and where it is that you're supposed to be going, even if you make the wrong decision, right?
Yeah.
And so as soon as I realized that I had to master my speaking, uh, Mind Valley ads started coming on freaking YouTube. So then I found Mind Valley and I signed up to a program. Then I signed up to a fitness coaching program. Like, I was hunting and I was on a mission to just continue to say yes, 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 yes. And then a Speak and Inspire course came up from Mind Valley with Lisa Nichols, and I was like, oh wow, speaking course. Okay. So after I'd invested into these two programs already, I was like, man, I don't know if I can afford this. This is going to be too much. I said, if this is more than $500, I can't do it. And I got to the end of the webinar and it was $399. And I was like, fuck, I'm going to do it.
Just shy of that 500.
Yeah. And so I signed up to it, and I was like adamant that I was going to do these 3 programs, these 3 courses, like, um, no problems. And 1 week in, I'd cancelled the first Mind Valley program that I started. I had to stop doing the fitness program that I'd started. And my full focus was on Speak and Inspire, on the program about speaking,
Wow.
because I felt so connected with this course, and I just felt like I was like, wow, this is it. Like, this is what I need. This is who I am. And then that was basically the birth of Luke Mind Power.
Wow. What a journey. So you had this vision of ending up in Poland and encouraging family members to go down that road with you. And on the journey, it just took you in a different direction. And here you are today.
That's the truth, man. I'm telling you, like, I'm not like, I'm just on Twitter right now because I wanted to show you. This is the gym that I was going to open in Poland. It's called Red Fit Pump.
Uh huh.
And I full had it set up. I was like, this is the dream. I'm doing this. Like, 2018 joined September, and I was just like, I'm going to make it happen. And um, yeah,
So it's almost 3 years later, because it's not
yeah,
that too long ago. I mean, it seems like ancient times when we think about the pandemic and what that's felt like. But you now coach today. There's over 600 people in your Dream Chasers group. So you totally took this pivot in speaking full on and coaching full on. So tell us more about Dream Chasers. What was the catalyst for starting that?
the catalyst for starting that was my speaking program that I started just as I finished the last conversation. The reason why I started the Dream Chasers was because of the impact and inspiration that I experienced during this 33-day speaking course on and inside a Facebook group. Like, I just, the the motivation, the awakening, the support, the encouragement that I felt, like, through that process of connecting with these people that I'd never met before in my life. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, if you are making excuses as to why you can't be a new version of yourself or whatever, then you're ignorant. Like, ignorance is bliss, but the amount of, we are living in an age of abundance of information out there, and we have this amazing thing called the internet. And if it wasn't for the internet, I would still be the same person as I was 5 years ago, right?
Wow.
And that Facebook group literally woke me up because I connected with so many people who I'd never met before, but who were just so positive, encouraging, loving, supporting. And that's why I believe, man, proximity is power. Who's in your inner circle? Who's in your ear? Who's building you up? Are there people pissing on your fire, or are they throwing logs on it? Which
Mm-hmm.
one? And that's where you have to build a relentless mindset to not be afraid to speak your truth, right? Not feel guilty for doing what's right for you, setting really healthy boundaries and knowing when to say no, and protecting your peace and protecting your energy. Because the more you become strong enough and confident enough to be able to do that, man, you start living your dreams,
Wow.
because you start loving yourself enough to do exactly what you need to do to fulfill your prophecy on this fucking journey of life that you have here. This is one life that you get, and we're wasting it because of the experiences of what we've been through in the past that have made us so unconscious, and we've been indoctrinated with these, generational beliefs that have come from 100 years ago, 200 years ago, lifestyles of how we should be living, how people were living 200, 300 years ago. And we're not adapting. We're still
Mm-hmm.
trying to repeat cycles. It's a cyclical effect of trauma, of low vibration living, of, the energy is like closed minded, right? Like this is about like, for example, I know I'm digressing, but uh, that's the reason why I evolved, and that's why I started Dream Chasers, because of that Facebook group, that community. Because I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to emulate this, and I'm going to start my own community so people can feel heard, understood, inspired, motivated, and surround themselves with a pack of lions that are on the same mission. Because together we're powerful. Um, and yeah, I know I was about to say something, but I forgot.
Oh, I love that. Well, okay. So you probably get approached by people who have gone through similar things as you, trauma and healing being a major part of that. People who are well intentioned, right? Want to heal and get to that next level, but are struggling. What do you tell the person who is on that cusp that gets pulled back into into that trauma, into their past? This happened to me. This is who I am. This is holding me back. What does it take to get somebody from that old story to the place that you're talking about where they can be a new version of themselves?
If you're not speaking it, you're storing it, and that shit gets heavy.
You're
And
storing it. Ooh, that's good.
this is the shit that, unfortunately, we hold on to a lot of baggage, right? And some people meditate, some people offer it up as prayer, some people reach to a higher calling when they're in pain or suffering, or they need help.
Hmm.
But I really believe that, sure, it's nice to have faith, it's nice to pray, it's nice to offer things up. It's nice to sit there and meditate over your challenge or whatever it is that you're dealing with. But the act of communication, probably the one thing that is undervalued by most people, underappreciated, not aware. People are not aware of the impact that being able to be open, vulnerable, and speak your truth can have on your life. So this is the part of my mission, is to help people use their voice, is to help people speak up, is to help people get confident in speaking their truth. Because I believe that once you start speaking your truth, once you get to that really empowered, confident, superpowered, confident state,
Hmm.
that's when you get into alignment with who it is that you truly are. Otherwise, you're living because you're influenced by others, you're dimming yourself, you're not speaking up, um, you're being triggered by people emotionally, and you're afraid to let them know that they hurt your feelings, right?
Hmm.
Because you don't have the confidence to speak, right? You leave it. You go, okay, don't worry about it, or you go and drink, or you take drugs, or So I think that's the key, is communication, and it's actually owning up, like being honest with yourself,
Hmm.
and then
Yeah.
using mentor, coach, an environment where you feel heard and understood, whether it's a psychologist, a counselor, a coach, a mentor, whatever you want to, whichever's best for you that you feel. But communication, in order to heal, you have to release.
That's big. That's big. I think it's scary sharing your story and being vulnerable. And that is a space that you've created for people, is the opportunity to begin
Mm.
somewhere. I think that's really powerful.
Oh yeah, there's people in the Dream Chasers that are going through some shit, but
Mhm.
man, they're rising higher every day because they're around other people who are fighting also.
Mhm.
Who are not going to give up, and this law of reciprocity, this give and receive. energy is powerful, man. Like,
Yeah.
you give love, you receive love. You give love, you're just building each other up. It's like being in a healthy relationship where, your partner complements your life. Your partner believes in you. Your partner supports you. Your partner wants you to win, right? And you give the same back to them. Like, why do you think, like, for example, Dean Graziosi, man, big inspiration of mine. He talked
Mm-hmm.
about his most successful. I listened to his episode on Lewis Howes on the School of Greatness last year, I think, and he shared that he had his most successful year of his life in his 50th year.
Mm-hmm.
And the main reason why it was so successful was because he found the love of his life,
Yeah, I remember that episode.
you know? And I'm like, it's true. But not only
Mm-hmm.
for that, in terms of a relationship, but in terms of having the right environment or being in the right ecosystem,
Mm-hmm.
right? Having the right energy around you to lift you up, to support you, to not criticize you and bring you down, not pull you down, but to be the wind beneath your wings.
Mm-hmm. What else keeps you at a higher vibration besides the people that are around you? What sustains that level? I think it's so easy to get back at those lower frequencies, and with different triggers. What keeps you vibrating at that higher level?
It's a good question, man. Like, it's actually, I'm trying to think, like, yeah, what is it? And I'm like, you know what? It's definitely the why. Everyone has to have a why. Like, you have to have a reason as to why you're doing something. And I know for many people that why could be your children. You know, which I like to challenge
Mm-hmm.
because I want people to realize that they are valuable and they are important as well. You're
Mm-hmm.
not. I know that it's challenging to raise children because I've got three older sisters, and I know what it's like to have kids and to be that mother or father. But don't forget about you. You know, and for me personally, my why is me. Like, the reason why I'm not giving up and I'm continuing to show up, I'm continuing to fight through, the fears, the insecurities, the self doubt, the imposter syndrome, um, is is because I think of that little version of myself, that insecure version of myself, the one that wants to be heard, the one that wanted to be validated, the one that wanted more love, the one that wanted more attention, the one that needed someone to tell him that you're good enough, man. I love you. You're important, and to be built up.
Mm-hmm.
I was missing that as a kid. And so now I show up. And every time I show up for him. I show up for my younger version of myself to let him know that, I got your back,
Mm-hmm.
and no one's ever going to hurt you again. And I'm not going to let you down.
Yeah,
So
that's huge.
that's the motivation.
Yeah. Wow. Whew. And I mean, even imagining having a conversation, if we all paused to have a conversation with the younger version of ourselves, man, the advice and the difference that is, because this journey is just, it's not an easy one, you know, not at all.
No,
Um,
I know what you're doing with your podcast, and I've had my podcast for a couple of years now, and I think I'm on episode 94, and it's a lot of work. It's not easy.
yeah, it's a lot of
It's,
work.
and you really have to have a drive, a passion. Um, there's something inside of you that keeps you driven, continuously going and showing up. It's not about comparing, but at the same time, I look at people like Lewis Howes, for example, and
Hmm.
I look at his podcast or even Joe Rogan, and I think, wow, how do they have so many people listening to their podcast?
Hmm.
And they're on episode 1,500 or something. I'm like, yeah, because they never gave up.
Right? It's that consistency.
Yeah, you got to keep showing up, and this is the journey, and that's why Gary Vee is the number one person to install this belief. not install it, but to make me aware of patience.
Yeah. Oh, man. Sometimes I think that patience has been more challenged in a instant gratification society that we've become in, right? Because it's the number of followers, the number of likes, it's this, immediacy that we look for. And there's such a lack of patience. And I think that's why in this space, we see a lot of people come and go because it's just not this overnight experience. And
Yeah,
that's
it's
not
not
how it
easy.
works.
Yeah, I have to say, and I've seen people who I've been connected with on my social, and doing their best to show up and stuff, and then I see them kind of fall away, and it's hard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's hard to stay consistent. It's hard to show up when, especially when you're using social media, um, and you're not getting the attention. You're not getting the likes, the comments, um, the the uh, the support. Like, what's the point? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm posting shit, but no one's liking it, no one's seeing it. Like, what's the
Yeah.
point? Like, what is it? Like, it is. That's the breakthrough that you know you have to fight. Like,
Yep.
it's as hard as hell right now. Like on Instagram, shit, But
Yeah.
there's always new ways, and like Reels has definitely made an impact, and people have grown their accounts because they've invested a lot of time into working out how Reels work.
Mm-hmm.
And it does make a difference. I found a way on TikTok to grow an audience and to have a lot of people come from my TikTok to follow me on Instagram.
Yeah.
So,
What was that? So I have to ask you that. So what was the start of that? What was the start of TikTok and how did it get so big for you?
um, last year in December, after I came out of I don't want to say failed, because it wasn't. I mean, it was an investment that I made into my business that was just a lesson. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I
Yep.
invested over $100,000 and it didn't work out, and I went through a lot of depression, anxiety, stress, drinking, smoking. It was hard. And I got to this point where I was like, okay, I got to push this to the side and just know that, okay, this is going to work out, whatever, but I need to take action on TikTok, because TikTok is like the universe. If you ain't willing to put in the work, show up and be consistent, you ain't going to get rewarded.
Mm-hmm.
So I had this conversation with my friend and I was like, bro, we need to post I'm going to post like 3-4 times a day. Like, we have to
Yeah.
do this, stay consistent and just do it. So I started doing that. I started creating content and just posting like 3-4 times a day, even though it wasn't getting much attention, because I was like, one of them's got to pop. One of
Yeah.
them has to go viral eventually. And then he called me, I think like a week later, and he's like, bro, get on this song. If
Oh
you
my God.
dance, if you dance to this song, it's gonna go off. So he sent me the song and I did this dance in my kitchen, and and then about an hour later, or probably not even an hour, I checked it and it was on like 14,000 views. And I was like, wow, this is going mental, right? It was the
Who
most
knew? Dancing in your freaking kitchen
yeah,
would just
and
go
all these
crazy.
people were following me, and I only had like 600 followers at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just like, what the hell is going on? And then the TikTok app even froze because like it just wouldn't work. And I was like, okay, let's leave it. And then eventually, yeah, I think that video is on 100,000 views now. But that started the awakening process of, okay, there's something here. Let's dance more.
Hell yeah.
So I started to dance. And so then after a couple of weeks, I was like, okay, well, the dancing's going all right. I'm posting all the time. Let's add something to it. And so I started adding like inspirational words into the video. So while people were watching me, it became a little bit interactive where people actually got to follow a message. And then, you give them a call to action at the end by saying, follow me, or what do you think, to get people to leave comments, right? Because that boosts the engagement and it expands your reach. So I started to do that. And then at the end of December on TikTok was when I kind of seized my relationship with the person that I was working with in the business. And that was a really hard time for me. And so I posted a video sharing what I had just gone through. And after a party on New Year's Day, it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and I opened TikTok, and I opened it up to like 500 comments on this video. And I was just like blown away by the love, by the support, by the people commenting saying, you're going to be okay. Because basically I was sharing that, I'm 36, I'm going through depression, I'm single. Like, I was writing all the stuff that I was feeling hurt with.
Wow.
And I just lost $100,000. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with my life, And
Damn.
and then watching these comments, reading these comments, every comment, I know I had a few drinks, so I was a bit emotional. But it was 4
You
o'clock.
got really vulnerable.
4 o'clock in the morning, and I had a few drinks, and I was reading these comments, and I was just, every comment that I was reading, I was crying.
I can only imagine.
Because I was just like, wow, look at all the love, like, look at all the support. And then that kind of boosted me up again. And because I was on TikTok, and because that support kind of just made me, I was just on TikTok all the time, and I was scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And then eventually I came across this lady called Miss Alonso, and she was just this Latina woman from Florida, I think. And she was doing this funny stuff, like making these funny videos. and I heard this sound, and I was like, damn, this is a crack up. So I followed that sound, and I found this old grandpa from Russia. And he was just doing this dance that looked really funny. And I was like, wow, that's really funny. I'm going to try that. So then I tried this dance, and I posted it, and people really loved it. And I was like, oh my God, like, I can't believe this. And so then I started doing these funny dances, and I was like so enthralled with the attention and the support and the love and the comments by people just posting, oh my God, this is so funny, that I was like, I went to my mum and I said, Mum, like, people are going off, like, with this character. And I was like, it's not me, it's someone else. So I said, we have to give him a name. And so she said something, and then she said, Hans. And I said, Hans, yeah. Right. So I got dressed up, like, I got changed into this new outfit. And yeah, for the next like couple of months, I was so motivated to create this content of comedy. And that really, really, like, kind of just got me a lot of attention, a lot of followers. But while I was doing that, I was going live on TikTok twice a day, 1 p.m. and 1 a.m. for 1 hour, and I was speaking. So the people who were following me, who thought that I was doing comedy, would see me on live, and they'd be like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Like, where's
The
Hans?
hell? Yeah.
Right?
Dude, we love that guy.
Yeah. So people were quite shocked, because they saw this funny dude, but then they heard me speaking, and they they couldn't believe like what they're hearing, because they're so used to seeing the funny stuff. And so, one thing I saw from that was obviously, like, I have to share it, like, to have a viral video. Even I've got a few of them now, but like, to have this video where I'm dancing in the garage, I get my niece to walk in to catch me dancing, and to wake up in the morning, and my niece comes into my room, and she's like, Uncle, you know that your video is on 1.1 million? And I was like, oh. Really? Wow. I mean, it's on 11 million now, but to just have something like that happen, I was just like, that's a sign from the universe to say, hey, I know you got fucked over last year. I know you lost a lot of money, but
Mm-hmm.
I got your back.
Yep.
I know who you are, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of exploded my TikTok following, and I've since kind of given Hans a break. He's on holidays, and I'm just focusing more on my coaching and my speaking and helping people because that's really my passion.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed one thing while I was doing the comedy, and that is that a lot of people were saying, "I wish I had your confidence," you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it took me a while to actually narrow down my niche and to narrow down what it is that, or who it is that I actually help.
Yeah.
Like, because you can say as a motivational speaker, or as a life coach, or whatever, I help. If you've got whatever you're going through, I can help you.
Yeah. All of it. Everything.
But it's but it's not like there's a deeper mission that you have. There's a
Yep.
specific person that you actually help, and it took me a little bit of time to kind of narrow that down to realize that, yeah, I help women between the
Mm-hmm.
ages of 35 to 60 build superpowered confidence, because a lot of women, I mean, I have so much respect for women because I have three older sisters. I live with my mum right now as well. And I've watched them evolve into being parents, into being mothers, sisters, daughters, having to have relationships with their partners, going through divorce, having
Mm-hmm.
relationships with their children. Like, I've lived in these experiences with them because I've lived with them. Like, for the last 15 years, I had to live with my sisters and watch them parent their kids, raise their
Mm-hmm.
kids. So, from all of that, I came to the conclusion that, yeah, that's what I do. That's who I help. I empower women. But also, there's a deeper silver lining there because uh, when I was younger and I was unconscious, I was very egoistic and, again, very masculine and very dominative, from a dominating mindset of, I fuck this chick and then go and share with my mates.
Yep.
And it was like whatever it takes to get into a girl's pants, right? So if I have to
Mm-hmm.
tell her that I love her just so that I can sleep with her, then I'm going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So my purpose there is that I'm teaching women to respect themselves, to see red flags, and to pay attention, because most unconscious men just want to fuck.
Yeah.
And so I like to do that. I like to empower the women to respect themselves, love themselves enough to treat themselves with respect, because the way you treat yourself is going to reflect how others treat you. So if you want to be treated with respect, respect yourself.
Mm-hmm. That's huge. That's huge. Oh, you're helping so many women, Luke. There's so many people who need that, especially in this time. And people have spent a lot of time in isolation and are looking to be in healthy relationships. And it does start with how you treat yourself. So I do have a couple of questions for me to get a little even deeper into the mind of Luke Mind Power. So I have 5 questions for you. And the first one is, what 3 words best describe you?
3 words.
Mm-hmm.
3 words. Power, empathy, and positivity.
I love that. Amazing. All right. The next question is, what's something about yourself that you're working on improving?
What's something about myself that I'm working on improving?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. It's in my head. What's something about myself that I'm working on improving? Um, I'm working on improving. I guess I'm always working on improving my confidence, but fuck, you got me on the spot. I really want to answer this really right. What's something that I'm working on improving? My setting healthy boundaries, I guess. That's something that's very important. Yeah, being like I know I speak about it a lot, but just to be able to continue to show up and not feel guilty for doing what's right for you, to speak up, communicate. But yeah, setting healthy boundaries and being able to let people know what
Yeah,
you need.
that's
Yeah.
big. That's big. Okay. What's a self-limiting belief that you've had to overcome?
Self-limiting belief. Yeah, that I'm not good enough. That I can't achieve success on my own.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, clearly you've shattered that belief.
Yeah, we're getting there every day. Like I'm still growing. I'm still moving forward. But I'm very like I feel like right now I'm at the top of the glass ceiling and I'm about to shatter it
Yeah.
so that I can break through.
Next level.
Mm.
There's a devil in the next level, right? That's what you talked
I
about.
know.
Oh my gosh. Okay. What's one thing that you want to see changed in the world?
Definitely parenting to
Mm,
to to understand the actual to understand the immense impact of what happens when your child isn't raised in a supportive, empowered environment.
wow.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's big. Okay. It's my last question. What's one of the best pieces of advice that you've ever been given?
There's a lot. But one of them is by Maya Angelou, and she says, I've got my own back.
Wow. Like, imagine if we all did that.
Yeah,
How things would be if we all really showed up and had our own back. What a confident world, and how we would show up and communicate. That would be pretty amazing.
it would be. It would, you know, it's kind of hard to fathom that that's possible because there's so many people in the world, you know.
Hmm.
But you can change one person at a time. You can help heal one person at a time, and that has a ripple effect, you know. So, I mean, if you look at Tony
Absolutely.
Robbins, for example, as you know, as an influential person,
Yeah.
he shares that he's feeding like millions of people every year, right?
Hmm.
He's changing so many people's lives from all of his conferences and events and Date with Destiny and all of his Unleash the Power Within's and all that stuff. But still, there's so many people hurting.
Oh, yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, and I mean, look at all the other conferences and other speakers and Brendan Burchard's and people like that. Like, they're making impact, they're helping, they're changing people's lives, but there's still so many people. So,
That's always be the case, right?
so this is the truth of going, well, okay, yeah, there's these successful people and they're helping a lot of people, but there's still other people out there that are waiting for you. They're waiting for you to show up. Like there's enough space for you. There's room,
Hmm.
but it's like, how much do you want it?
Yeah. Well, that's the abundance mentality, right? There's more than enough out there and people who need the gift that you have to give. But you've got to show up to, to be the light in those situations. And I mean, you've certainly done that. I would love for you to be able to share what programs or events, what kinds of things are in store that you want people to know about.
Well, I do have a live coaching channel that I go live on Monday to Friday, which is on the Uspired platform. So it's just www.uspired.com. And that's something that's really, it's great to have people actually signing up to that and just tuning in. You can catch me live. If you miss me, then all the videos go up on, all the replays get posted up on my channel. So there's heaps of content on there. But it's just sharing like a lot of my coaching strategies and tips and tools and secrets of, mindset, transformation, personal development, self-love techniques. And it's all about awakening, really. It's all about, your mind and your emotional intelligence and stuff like that. But I have that. And then I also have my 6-week program, which is my superpower mastermind. And again, that's helping you build superpowered confidence in 6 weeks, right?
That's amazing.
Which is super powerful. It's super transformational. It's a group coaching environment. And again, the reason why it's group coaching, I don't actually do one-on-one coaching, is because of the amount of impact that I can make with a group of people together, because I know what proximity is. And I've had too many experiences of transformation and evolution and awakening because you surround yourself with a pack of lions on the same mission. You surround yourself with gladiators to say, hey, yes, I'm going to show up for me. But not only am I just with Luke, I'm with other people who are saying, yes, I want to change. I want to grow. I want to transform. I want to be better, right? I want to overcome my fears. I don't want to live in this kind of lower vibration anymore. I want to feel empowered. I want to feel enough. I want to learn how to love myself enough. I want to wake up in the morning and not have to think, that I need someone to tell me that I'm good enough, right? Because through relationships, through different, experiences that we've been through, we take on a lot of other people's beliefs. And if you've been through a manipulated relationship or domestic violence or codependency or narcissism, or just like a place where you've had people try to dim your light and put you down, and it's been a long time, then you believe that shit. And that voice, it's like subconsciously in your head saying, you ain't shit, man. You're never going to be nothing. You're not good enough. You're ugly.
Yeah.
Right. And then people believe that. And I mean, I'm seeing it so much, especially on Facebook, for example. Like, I'm in some of these Facebook groups where people's self-esteem and self-confidence is so low because of the relationships that they've just come out of. So for me to show up and have a program like this is, it's a blessing for me to do this, but more so it's very fulfilling to see people happier at
Yeah.
the end of the journey, to see
Yeah.
what they're like at the start and to see how they're coming out of it. It's amazing, so I'm honored to be able to do that now, and to give back, because I mean, you can choose to just keep showing up as a speaker or on social media, but you're limiting yourself. Like, you have a gift, you have something to give, and you got to show up and like own your brilliance, like play full out, be, take that uncomfortable action to learn how to do specific things so that you can deliver things in the right way and help people, right? It's always going to be fear at this at the next level that's going to say, you don't know how to do this, you've never done it before. But it's all action, man. Everything that you want in life is on the other side of action.
That's awesome. So, would somebody be able to join the Dream Chasers group if they were listening and felt like that was something that aligned with where they're at and they want that kind of empowerment? How does one do that?
You can go on my Facebook profile,
Mm-hmm.
which is Luke Chlebowicz. I know that that's
Mm-hmm.
my real name, and I know that all my other social media platforms are Luke Mindpower. But yeah, you can click on the link in my personal page, and it just says there, click to join the Facebook group. Just make sure that you answer the questions, otherwise my team may reject you.
Yeah. You got to meet the criteria, people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'll make sure. So tell us, we can follow you where and how. What's your name on all your socials?
At Luke Mindpower.
Perfect.
Straight up, simple. Luke Mindpower. All one word.
Easy. All one word. So I'll put all that information in the show notes so you can follow Luke. I'm telling you, and I really mean that. It's funny because if I don't see something, I'm like, "Where's Luke?" Because it really, I mean, your messages are so powerful. You're so raw. You're vulnerable. You speak from your heart. It's very clear that you do that. You have fun, and I think you just showing up and having all those dimensions of you is important because it does inspire, for the person who's sitting there going, "Oh, I could never just get up and dance in my kitchen and do that," or for the person going like, "I'm down in the dumps because this relationship just rocked my world and I'm starting from ground zero." When they see somebody like you or can be in a group of people who have done something similar or have gone through those similar experiences, it can be life changing. So I just want to thank you for holding that space for so many people who need it.
I receive that. I really do. I'm grateful that you acknowledge me in that way. It's nice to hear, because sometimes we forget to acknowledge ourselves in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
sometimes we're so busy in the things that we're doing in our life that we forget how far we've come. We forget how much energy and work and time we've put in. And sometimes it feels like it's a never ending road. Sometimes it feels like it's just taking too long,
Mm-hmm.
and like, hurry up, like, freaking hell, like, when am I going to reach this next level? Like, why is it taking so long? But I've had to step back and just actually get to this point now where I'm like, trust the process, Luke. This is part of it. You're not
Mm-hmm.
getting, like, for example, when I first started my 6 week program or doing my coaching, I'm like, Luke, you're not getting these clients yet because you're not supposed to. It doesn't come that easy. You need to keep showing
Mm-hmm.
up. You need to keep fighting. You need to keep proving yourself, right? How much do
Yeah.
you want it? How much do you want to
Oh yeah.
serve, right? And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you have to keep showing up and keep pushing through, right? But I just wanted to just quickly, because you asked me those three, what are the three words that just best describe me?
Yeah.
And I just thought of one more word. I hope I can add it.
Yes, please.
Vulnerability.
It's the biggest.
I know I said empathy and power and positivity, but
And positivity. Yeah.
vulnerability, to be a male
Mm-hmm.
and to be as vulnerable as I am, is so powerful. And I know that it's the reason why I connect with so many people, is because
Mm-hmm.
of my vulnerability and because of my
Yeah.
willingness to really open my heart and share the truth, right? Um,
Yeah. And I have to say that I appreciate that because a lot of times when you come into self-development, right? People are looking for the success. I mean, that's why they get into this space, right? They want to know like what success is, what it feels like, how you get to the next level. But if you don't share what you've had to overcome and the challenges and the difficulties and the ugly parts, then that would be a disservice. You know, it doesn't, you don't just end up with the right mindset or money or the right people. It's a journey, and it's not an easy one. And I think that you've done a lot in your vulnerability to share, everything from your trauma and the personal challenges that you've, faced, that you've had to overcome, and the honesty of saying what you're still working on, because it's a work in progress all the time. There isn't you know, this moment where you wake up and all of a sudden you just have nothing to work on anymore.
No, it's, every day is a day to grow, to take action, to heal. And I really believe that you'll never heal fully.
Mhm.
You know, I used to believe that when you heal fully, then you're okay to get into a new relationship, or then you'll attract the right partner. But
Mhm.
I was inspired recently by Jung Pablo, the writer, on Instagram.
Uh-huh.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, he posted a really amazing um, quote, or not a quote. It's actually from his book. Yeah, Jung Pueblo. And when I read it, I was like, oh wow, that's that is exactly what I'm talking about. And he talked about um, healing and relationships. And I'm just trying to find it. Where is it? It's so true that it's not about healing. It's about meeting someone who's willing to heal with you, right? Heal together and support each other and grow together. So when I read that, I was like, yeah, wow, that's exactly right. It's not about completely healing. You're never going to completely heal. You're you're always going to be on this journey, um, like of continuous growth and continuous unlearning. So you need to find
Right.
someone who connects with you in that way, so you can support each other's healing, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's just a different mindset. And again, this is just learning and seeing what fits for you, what works for you, what feels right for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's an ongoing process. That's
Absolutely.
absolutely for sure. It is.
Absolutely.
Um, well, I just want to thank you, Luke, for your time. I know that you've got the craziest schedule to manage and so much to do. So you just, cutting out some time for us to have this conversation that's so raw and authentic and real, it just means a lot. And in a busy world where I think we're all just trying to do our best and be the best version of ourselves. I'm so inspired by you. So thank you for taking the time. I appreciate you.
Well, yeah, Des, I appreciate you too, and I'm really proud of your work, and you're taking action. You're creating. Like you're not here to compete; you're here to create. Like throw away
Mhm.
this whole thing about competing with other people and trying to be better than other people, or trying to copy other people, or compare yourself to other people. You're here to be yourself. You're here to be proud of who you are, and own it fully, and show up and create. And that's what you're doing
Mhm.
with this podcast as well. So I'm gonna um, keep you accountable, so that I make sure
Yeah.
that I see you in 12 months time and you're still doing Born Unbreakable podcast. Because
Hell
I know
yeah.
how easy I know how easy it is to, after 6 months or after 8 months, kind of, like, even for me, it's easy for me to slow down and go, oh shit, I need to record another podcast. I don't have time. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, you know. Um,
Yeah.
so keep going, and I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate your support and your encouragement, and it really, really means more than you know. And I hope to, you know, I know that this kind of work, you want to see yourself on a TV show. You want to see
Yeah.
yourself like on a panel somewhere in a radio station, or whatever it is. You got the gift. I hear it in you. So um, congratulations. Keep going.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I'm going to stay accountable to you. And in a year, obviously we talk a lot, but definitely we'll see what's going on, and you'll be on my show or I'll be on your show, or we'll be doing something awesome. So that I
Absolutely.
can guarantee, because we're definitely mission driven messengers. So we're here to stay.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Luke. I am so grateful for the opportunity to have Luke on the show. He is so real and so raw with sharing his story and his journey to transformation. And we were talking a little bit after the interview, and he was actually able to find that quote that he mentioned from young Pueblo. And this is what the quote says: "Throw away the idea that you have to be fully healed to be in a loving relationship with a great partner. We normally come together with many unresolved issues because healing simply takes time. The couples who shine with harmony are the ones who commit to healing and growing together." Wow, that's really powerful. I appreciate the process, and I love the message that I'm reminded of, and hopefully you're reminded of having patience with yourself in this journey of life and growth and self-development. It's not easy. We trip, we fall, we can easily fall back into our old stories, old habits, old behaviors, past versions of ourselves. But when you're on the journey to be the best or the better version of you, you remember your why, like Luke talked about. You surround yourself with like-minded people that are there to uplift you and motivate, encourage, and inspire you. And you have that courage and that confidence by being vulnerable and speaking up and believing in the person that you know you're meant to be. I hope you were inspired from today's episode with Luke Mindpower. Follow him. He's hilarious. I can understand why his dance videos have gone viral. But really, for the inspiration, definitely you won't regret following him on all his social media accounts, which, like I mentioned, will be in the show notes. Don't forget to tune in next time to another episode of the Born Unbreakable podcast, where this is the place that we crush our self-limiting beliefs and be unapologetically the people we are meant to be. So, with that, don't forget that you are your only limit. So take action today, and I will see you or talk to you if you're listening and not watching this on YouTube. You'll hear me on the next episode, but I look forward to it, and I will catch you next time.